Hey, this is Neil. It's March 26, 2024. This is a video on setting up your Google Cloud Shell for development in Walk in the Woods and the Surfey project. So I've gone ahead and created another Gmail account, which Google is already trying to shut down for suspicious activity. I literally just set this up. You can see the timestamp on it. And we're going to get started from here and just pray that I don't know how people set up Gmail accounts anymore. So go to shell.cloud.google.com. If you haven't been there before, it's going to have you agree to stuff. I'm trying to start this from absolute scratch so you can follow along from the very beginning. So why Cloud Shell? Well, it's setting up. Cloud Shell is a consistent environment that has all the latest software that we need to do the development and in a consistent way. So you can access it from anywhere, any browser. And if you have a Gmail account, then you've got it. All right, so we've gone ahead and set up Cloud Shell. Now, the very first thing we're going to want to do, refer to my notes, is we need to generate a key. And this is what we're going to use to access GitHub. So we're going to cat out id rsa.pub. And what you need to do is copy this to your GitHub. Let me bring up a window for that. Go to your settings, and then SSH and GPG keys, new key, Cloud Shell knob, and add that there. And of course, everyone needs to know it's me. So let's get that authorized. What am I missing here? Okay, let's try this again. I must have copy and paste error previously. Okay. So now you got that, and we are ready to roll. So we're going to clone the repo. I have a nice little copy paste here, and we're just cloning it into the root directory. Your root, your home directory, is maintained even when the Cloud Shell VM goes offline. You only have 50 hours a week, and when you're not using Cloud Shell, it's going to deactivate, and when you start it back up, then you're going to get a brand new environment except for your home directory, and your home directory is going to be under home and then your username at gmail.com. So whatever that is going to be your username. So the very next thing we need to do is clone the directory. So now we have Surfey, and we're going to create a customize environment script, and this is what will get run every single time your Google Cloud Shell instance comes up. And I like to, you'll be able to see what I'm setting up here, but there is a script that I've already put together in the Surfey repo called customize environment. So we're just going to call that, and I put echoes around it so I can see what's going on there. So I gotta remember this fancy username I created. Yeah, Nobesk. I wonder if they're going to shut this down while I'm running this. Okay. Yes, save, and make sure you make that executable. Oops. Yep. And that's the script that gets run when your, like I said, your VM starts up. But you're also going to want to edit your bash profile. So that's in .profile in your home directory. And here at the very end, we're going to add a helper script from the Surfey repo to set up Cloud Shell, and put source in front of it because we want to absorb any exports from it. Nobesk, and that's going to run bash profile. Now, before any of this stuff can work, we're also going to need to set up your IAM. So you're going to need access to the Surfey project for this to work. If you don't already have access, good luck, but it ain't going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and give access. And typically what we have here is just editor role. That should be good enough. All right. And you'll be able to tell if you have access. We can do gcloud config set project and then Surfey. And if you have access, you should be able to do a gsutil ls, which just lists out the buckets. I'm an editor on the project now, so I can see the buckets. Fantastic. And then the last step here is just to restart the VM. Now, I haven't touched any of the VS Code stuff at the top. I'm going to restart the VM. If you look in the upper right, there's a 3-dot menu and a couple other ones we're going to check out in a moment. But clicking here, you can select restart. And here we're just going to select want clean VM state. When you restart the VM, some funny things can happen. And this happened earlier when I was trying this out. And one of them is what you see right now, and that's it pops us back into our terminal, even though the VM instance that was hosting that terminal is being shut down and a new one is being started up. So you can see that happening because the initializing your cloud editor is kind of stuck. They haven't made this very smooth in the 6 or 7 years that I've been using this. When you restart your VM, especially the first time, just be patient, and I would wait. I think it's been 30 seconds or more. Go ahead and go back to shell.cloud.google.com, and then it'll pop up this that you can actually watch it waiting, rather than you sitting in a broken state and a terminal you can't actually use. I'm going to try to be more patient this time, because last time I tried to jump ahead before it was ready and was not working so well. I know this is a bit slow to start with, but you're not going to be restarting your VM very often, and once you've set this up at least once, it actually seems to happen a lot quicker. I don't know if you were being throttled because we're a new user or what, but I'm typically not waiting that long for any of this. Perfect. Okay. Good. You want to see this authorized? This is set up in that bash profile script that's in the Surfey repo, and that's setting it up so that every time a new bash instance or shell instance comes up, it's set on the correct project. Once we have this, and you can just dismiss anytime you see this message. If you pop between different browsers or computers, you're going to see it move stuff around. It doesn't like to be connected to 2 computers at the same time, even though it will work. This is just VS Code now, so we're going to open a folder, and we've cloned Surfey, so that's the folder we're going to open. By the way, while this is running, if you look at var log customize environment, that's the script that was running right to set up our custom environment. And you can see that it worked because now you can run ffmpeg and you can run YouTube DL. So if those are set up, then customize environment worked. And let's see. So now we've got our project here loaded up. Now before we begin, we're going to try to log into Cloud Code. This is where I got stuck last time. So when you first run this, it's going to say, hey, you need to select a project. That's fine. And it's thinking, something's thinking, but let's hope this works. I'm going to click select project. That's good. You you have to be patient, by the way, because this is occurring in the cloud. The first time it's creating things in your home directory, it might take a while. Surfey showed up. That means we have the Surfey project in our wheelhouse. Wait for this to complete before doing anything else, because you're going to avoid running into strange errors later. What you want to see is two things. One, it shows Surfey here at the bottom with your name. And the second is we want to actually be able to see the Cloud Run instance. See, so now, great, I've got the Cloud Run instance. And that's, now you set up your Cloud Shell instance. I'm going to show you just briefly because we're already here. This is just setting up Cloud Run or Cloud Shell. It's already done, so you can stop the video, but if you want to keep going, this is how you run the API. So you want to select the Go, Build, and Launch here, and just ignore the Ruby errors. Don't know what that is. Because Cloud Shell is always installing new things, or you might show up to this an hour later, a day later, or a month later, and all of a sudden things are a little different. Like the Go version might be incremented, or there's new extensions that are pre-installed, and that's part of like the power and the curse of it, is that you're always getting the latest stuff and you don't have to maintain a machine yourself. The first time you run this is going to take longer, and that's because Go is downloading things and then caching them. And that's part of the customized environment script. We're setting up caches so that this stuff will go into some system space rather than your home directory. But it does take a bit the first time, which is kind of annoying. And this is the first time after you log into Cloud Shell. So in the morning, what I do is I load up Cloud Shell and I almost immediately hit build, and then I'll go off and make coffee and stuff, because the first build takes a while, and then once you've got it built once, it's all cached, and then it's easy to restart it. Let's see, what else is there that's worth mentioning? We are going to have to set up the redirect URIs. This is what you want to see. And then pop over to debug console. You'll know when it's ready because it turns red at the bottom. And I'll show you how fast it is to restart it if you make changes. Okay, anyway, I was going to say we need to set up the redirect URIs for both Google and Apple so that you can actually use the login services from your Cloud Shell instance. So that is something we're going to do. And as mentioned earlier, you do have a limitation of 50 hours a week using this. I think I mentioned that, but this, if you're banging away in Cloud Shell for more than 50 hours, then there's probably other things you need to be doing. And you can always run this stuff, do code editing locally. But as far as testing it and deploying it, we need to be doing that from Cloud Shell just so it's consistent. Okay, so now the bottom's turned red, and here we see the API is listening on 23.12, which is what it does locally. Now to access the web version of this, we'll click on this little guy here, Web Preview, change the port to 23.12. And there you go, that's running the API locally. And so now we can try that out by going to login Apple. This is going to do our Apple sign in, but this initially isn't going to work because this host is not set up in Apple. So let's go ahead and set that up. So for that, you want to go to the developer account. You should have access to the Surfey API identifier. If you don't see it, it's because it's under service IDs, not app IDs. If you just see Surfey, you're under the wrong one. Go to service IDs, click Surfey API, configure, and then plus website URLs, return URLs, auth sign in, and the domain. Make sure you include your Cloud Shell domain. Click done. Let's go back to this guy. I'm going to reload. Now, if everything worked, hasn't gotten it yet. Nope. Come on. Did I not click save? Let's see, 2312 30577. Add return URLs. Try that again. Maybe it takes a little bit. Client ID. Yeah. Okay, well, let's do login with Google. Yeah, so this is what you'll see if it's not set up correctly. So let's do the Google thing. Where is my Google? So for Google, we want to do API and services, credentials, and then Surfey website, the OAuth client, and then we're going to want to add the URI here. And that's it. It says it may take up to 5 minutes. I wonder if that's Apple's got a similar issue. Okay. That's good. This looks right. Success. Okay, so Google worked fine. And you can verify the first time, you know, we're logging in for the first time with this knob-esque. And a very simple way to verify that is just to go to the Surfey bucket and then the users folder, and we can see knob-esque there, and this would be our information. Great. Okay, so Google works, so we should be able to just do auth, and wait, not auth, user, and this is our user. Great, we're logged in. Let's try with Apple one last time. Clearly that is a bucket that fills with anything. Nope. Kind of at a lot. Oh, I didn't click continue and then save. Done is not saved at Apple. Look at that. How about that? So now we can even sign in with this guy. Allow. Sure, that's a random thing. Not now. Continue. Ta-da! Okay. Some stuff not working right. Unable to is not valid JSON. Unable to parse claims. Very interesting. Well, we got part of it done. That's what you're going to have to set up anyways, the redirect URIs and the valid domain source. And that's it. Now you have the API running. You can access it using your Cloud Shell URL. The beauty of this is you get HTTPS for free because it's proxying your local host. So anything, here's your Cloud Shell URL, and then any port will be prior to this. If you ran something at port 2313 on localhost, this is what it would map to. And so it does the proxying for you, kind of like setting up an Nginx, but you don't have to do it. Okay, and that's that.